Hi guys, welcome to Hampshire Outdoors and Survival. And so today what we're going to talk about is loadouts, carrying systems, getting your kit where you need it, where you need to get out of it. What we're not going to go into today, and I am going to do a separate video on it at a later date, and I may be bringing in an expert to actually help us with that and help us go through the understandings and logics. I'll be going into escape and evasion. But that will be a video completely on its own for those of you that want to know a little bit more about that sort of science. Anyhow, so we're going to talk about loadouts. Loadouts, quite easy. What you're going to put in your pack, how you're going to carry your system. So as I discussed on my previous video, I have my day bag, my go bag, my purple bag that I carry around with me. That's my general everyday carry, and that's got a selection of kit in it that I like to keep with me in case of emergencies. Now, if I'm going out into the woods, quite often they go in a bag, but what I'm going to say to you today is I'm aiming this at, I'm going out, it's a situation, this is how I would load myself out. So these two pouches would normally be in the bottom of my bag, or in fact one will be at the top, one will be at the bottom. So on the left hand side, the least likely to be used one is my pt2 survival kit, which would come off, be opened up and divided out. To my right hand is the most used gear. So fastened to my belt, can't go anywhere. Yes, it's a pain unclipping it, but if I had to I could. Things like my ferro rod, a backup lighter, a compass, a whistle. Okay, it's all on me there. I'm not going to lose it. It's where I need it. It's where it is. Next to that will be my first aid kit. Right now, the belt I wear, as you see, is an elasticated belt. These you can buy online. You can buy them through Army surplus stores and so on. Right, it's a quick release belt. Okay, it's elasticated. It gives me freedom of movement. Yet it's strong enough to hold things up. It can be double up as a tourniquet if you needed it to. Right, it could act as if you were making a splint. It could act as a brace for a splint. But the great thing with these, they have two release systems. One's here, that releases it, clips back in nicely. The other one is here. You can unclip that, pull the belt flap comes around, you slide off what you want and quickly do your belt back up. Alright, so that's how that system works, and that's why I choose and use that belt. Again, it has many uses. It's quick, it's simple, it's efficient. I've had this one a couple of years, it's not let me down. And again, it doesn't matter if you change a little bit in size, it's elasticated and it's fully adjustable. So that's what I'd carry on my hips. Okay, that's there, that's with me all the time. If I lose my bag, I fall down a slope, I get robbed, I have to dump my bag and run up the road and get away. Right, I've still got that with me. I've still got a first aid kit with me. I can treat myself in injuries, I can control pain and so on. I've got shelter in there, I've got fire lighting facilities in there, I've even got a brew up facility in there. Okay, so next let's get on to the pack. Right, the pack I'm going to go through today is the infantry long pack. Right, so it's pretty much one of the largest infantry bergans you're going to come across, complete with the rocket pouches on. This loadout I've done in here is what I would call a heavy loadout. So I have things in there like my Lavoo setup, and it's a complete Lavoo, not just the half shelter, the complete Lavoo. I have clothing in there, I have food in there, I have cooking facilities in there, I have 4 litres of water in there. And again, 4 litres of water, it's weight, you've got to think about it all the time, and you need to balance these things out. So I'm going to get this sack out, pull everything out of it one at a time, show you what I've got in there, why I've got it in there. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on. Now here's the top tip for you. If you're loading your bergans out, your rucksacks out, once you've loaded it, what you want to be able to do is take it by the straps, swing it straight up onto your shoulders comfortably and easily. If you've got a strain to lift this, it's too heavy. You're going to be carrying this not for 10 minutes, not for an hour. You're looking at carrying this for days. And that takes practice, that takes building up muscles. That also takes things like balance. Don't think, oh, I'm going to go do a walk from London to Brighton and I'll just get myself a rucksack, fill it up and I'll go. No, you need to build up to these things. You need to learn to carry that weight. Okay, it's a big bergan. has the rocket pouches. You've got to learn its width, you've got to learn its weight. As you notice, I'm leaning slightly forward because I will use the hip straps, which come over my pouches, do the hip straps up. I'm carrying the weight on my hips. My hips and my legs are a straight line down, okay? It's carrying the weight straight through the bone, not through the muscle. If you're having to lean forward to carry it because of its weight, you're straining all these muscles. That's energy, that's damage, you don't want it. So, you want your loadout to be in something that's comfortable for you to carry. You've got all the adjustment straps on it. And again, this is to come down to preference. I like to load this up so it pulls my pack close to the top of my shoulders. Again, thinking of the straight line, I'm trying to create a straight line of force down to my hips, down through my legs, using the bone mass rather than the muscle mass. Okay, so that's carrying it. And again, as I said, practice carrying it. Even smaller bergans, even civvy bergans, rucksacks, you want to learn to carry them. You want to make it comfortable. It needs to become part of you. So anyhow, let's go through what I have in my kit. And this is a heavy kit, okay? So this is worst case scenario, what I need or what I would like to carry in an emergency or in a heavy situation. This can be a 5-day camp out. This can be I'm doing a charity walk. This could be I'm just going to clear off up the woods. I've had enough of society. Okay, so this is quite a heavy one. This is going to keep me out there. I aimed this at 5 days. Right, that's how I've loaded it out for you today. That can vary. I can load it with lighter items to push time out a bit further, make it easier for me to manoeuvre, walk, carry. By putting a lighter shelter kit in there, I could put more food in there, prolongs the time I'm out, I could carry more water, and by changing the fire and cooking system, I could then adapt it again, make it lighter, make it easier to carry. But this will start with heavy, okay? So we'll start top pouch. Top pouch is secured by this carabiner. Nothing is going to fall out, nothing's going to get lost, okay? So I can undo the carabiner, unclip it, open that zip. Right, first thing out, it's a head torch, okay? Now, depending on your situation, you either reverse the batteries so it doesn't click on, but if you know you come, you stop in mid-afternoon, I'll set my head torch up just in case I get stuck out after dark. Have your head torch ready to go, okay? That's a pt2 one, 3 settings. I don't go for flashing, I don't go for reds and all the rest of it. I'm not escaping and evading. I just need a head torch. I need to see what I'm doing. I need to see what I'm doing cooking. I need to see what I'm doing in an emergency. I don't want to be flipping through 8, 9, 10 programs trying to get it where I want it. You want a low energy mode, saves the batteries. You want a mid energy mode, right, which will do you for your cooking and so on. And you want a high energy mode so that if you're walking or you need to be signalling to somebody, 3 long flashes repeated. Right, international distress system, repeated 3s. Yeah. I had that talk to me years ago, and the guy said to me, "It's quite simple. Think of 3. I need help. I need help. I need help." Okay. So you think about it however you like. In there, I could just keep a simple bandana. Okay, simple elasticated bandana. If I'm in a very dusty, smoky environment, I can put it over my mouth, it can keep my neck warm, I can put it over my head and my ears, okay? Again, it's just another layer, it's simple, it's light, you can use it to blow your nose on in an emergency, and if you really had to, you could, less of that, the better, use it there. So again, it's multi-use. I wear glasses, spare pair of glasses in a sturdy glasses case, okay? If I lose my glasses, I break my glasses, I've got a spare set to go to. Ordnance survey map. Alright, these take no weight, no issue at all. If you're going to go off the beaten track, you're going to an area you don't know, and that one is Kintyre South, which I can recommend for walking. That's a beautiful area of Scotland. Have an ordnance survey map that covers your area. Okay, you're going to have a compass with you, you've got it in your kit. Have that in there. You get off the beaten track, you get lost, stop, work out where you are. If you can't work out where you are, don't move. You've already got an emergency plan in base. People are going to find you. Okay, so there, map. Behind that, tucked well down in there, I've got my bushcraft knife. My bushcraft knife lives in the top there, doesn't live on my belt. If I'm out in public, I'm not carrying an offensive weapon on my belt. However, officer, I am camping, I am travelling, and it is a camping knife is what I use it for. It's not readily to hand, it's tucked down there. If somebody attacks me, I'm not pulling it out and using it as a weapon. If you get attacked out wearing your bergan, hold on mate, wait a second while I get my bergan off, get my knife out. That ain't going to happen. So that's where I carry that one. And that lives in the top. Okay, I've already got my first aid kit on my belt. If need be, I didn't want to carry it on my belt, it will go in the top there, so it's readily to hand if I required it. So that's that pocket covered, and I'm going through this quite quickly because I don't want to make this video too long. So we open it up, and okay, so that's the top covered. We go inside next. So inside here, right, first thing I can get to at the top is normally my poncho. Okay, today I've got my poncho on the side. So first thing in the top, shelter. That's my complete Lavoo shelter system. Quite weighty, added a lot of weight to the bag. Don't like carrying it towards the top, nor carry it to the bottom. But what I'm saying to you, if it's pouring down with rain, the weather's bad, first thing you're going to want out is your shelter. So you've got to get used to this. You've got to decide, do I need a shelter at the top, do I need a shelter at the bottom? What's the weather conditions? So I'm gaming bad weather conditions, have my shelter at the top, which means I can get the shelter out first, seal my bag up, keep it dry, go to the rest of the kit afterwards. So below that, rations. Right, believe it or not, inside there are 2 meals per day for 5 days. All in the bag rations. I can't tell you guys how much I like all in the bag rations. When I get down to the cook set, I'll explain a bit more why. Okay, but that's in there. Below that, dry kit in a sealed, waterproof, sturdy bag. So in there, I have underwear, replacement socks, 2 very, very lightweight thermal vests, and a full set of wool thermals. Okay, that's the long bottoms, the long top with long arms. Now, the wool thermals are my sleep system. That's what I wear to get out of my wet kit at night and get into my sleeping bag. Right, the idea being I'm putting a dry kit on, I'm comfortable. As soon as I wake up in the morning, my dry kit will come off, it will get sealed up so it stays dry. I'll get into my wet kit if I need to. Okay, wet kit, if you wring it out, sort it out the night before, hang it up in your shelter, put it near a fire or whatever, you're going to get it reasonably dry. Yes, there is that moment in the morning where you've got to get into something a bit damp and you go, ugh. But at the end of the day, that's part of being out there. But you want dry kit to kip in. Below that is a military issue sleeping bag, which takes up the majority of this bag. Now, if you went for some of the civilian bags, and bear in mind the weather conditions, if you're going out in the summer, smaller sleeping bag, more space in there. Okay, some of the civvy bags and some of the new military bags compressed down really, really small. They can go in there, but you've got to equate the sleeping bag to the conditions. So I said bad conditions. Right, that is a winter sleeping bag. That will do me for bad conditions. Right, on top of that, I've normally got folded up with that a bivvy bag. Okay, that combined with the bivvy bag, yeah, I can sleep out in almost any conditions. I've got my Lavoo shelter, I can get under that. Now, brings me on to bed. Military issue roll mat, yeah, more than adequate for that. Normally I'll tie it on the bottom of the bergan. I'm not bothered if it gets a little bit damp, these dry off really, really quickly. They're not an issue at all. Insulates you from the ground, okay, so that goes under the bergan, has very little weight. Downside is it's bulky. If you want to go for the civilian side, damage everything, you've got an inflatable mattress there. Right? It's a lot smaller. It's probably about same weight, okay, and it could probably fit in the bag. So if I was using a lighter sleeping bag and I have more space in there, I'd probably go with that one. If I was using the military one, didn't have the space, I'll go with that one, strap it underneath. Right, so that's pretty much inside of my Bergen. At the bottom, small hatchet, okay, right down at the bottom, just for doing camp chores. At the end of the day, if I want to split wood, perhaps firewood, or the rest of it, yeah, it's there for that, okay. It's not an essential thing to carry with you. You could carry with your small folding saw, but I like axes, so I've got a small hatchet. It's a ground force that I carry in the bottom, okay. Don't need a big axe, because obviously I'm not actually at a camp processing logs, but I want to process small bits of wood. So that's the interior. Brings me to the rocket pouches. Rocket pouches live on the side, okay. So you have to think about this. Inside I have a camelback, right, it's a 2 litre camelback, so there's 2 litres of water in that. The straw runs out, runs down the shoulder strap, which means I've got it for my ready water source all through the day there in front of me. If I'm making a brew, I can fill a cup with that. It gives me water, it keeps me going, right. That is pretty much my through the day I'm running with. On top of that, I meant to put it in the bag earlier. Carry a life straw. Life straw lives in the top, okay. I use that for processing water, cleaning water. I still use a steri tab with it, and I still like to boil my water on top. But anyhow, onto the pouches. Okay, doke, small pouch in the centre. Pick it up. Small pouch in the centre. Find the zip. Inside there, fire lighting kit for emergencies. Right, now these are preference. This is my preference. Crystallised ginger. Love it. Absolutely wonderful. Buy it in any baking section. Lots of sugar. Ginger, absolutely brilliant for the immune system. Makes you feel good. I'll munch on that. Just little handfuls every now and again. Dried mango. Yeah? Or as I like to call it, mango jerky. Right? Brilliant. Okay? You've got to be hydrated to eat that sort of thing, because obviously it's dehydrated. But again, good energy source. It's lightweight, you can carry it. You get a bag, quite a big bag for next to nothing. And behind that, a bag of nuts. Okay, I like almonds, buy almonds. If you like walnuts, buy walnuts. Get what you like, because you're going to be munching on this. It's to keep you going. And also another thing I could recommend, these, I won't say the brand in case I get into trouble, but breakfast biscuits. We've all seen them, they're out there. You know, have one of these in the morning, it's like having a bowl of porridge. Yeah, they're great, full of energy, lightweight. Lots of starches in them, lots of carbohydrates in them. Have that in the morning to start you off. If you need to, mix it with some warm water, it makes a nice porridge. So that's that little pouch out the way. And that is pretty much my snacky pouch. That is, I want some munchies, I'm on the trot, I'm stopping for 10 minutes, I'm going to make a brew, I'm going to go to that. So, coming, making a brew. So, this pouch over here, waterproof poncho. The Dutch waterproof poncho, it will go over me, it will go over the Bergen, it keeps the whole lot dry. You can rig a shelter with it because it's a poncho, right? So if I had to dump this kit and run, the one thing I would grab out of there before I ran is that. Right, shelter system, keeps me dry, keeps me warm, keeps me toasty. Then below that, I have my cook set. So my little pot. Inside my little pot again, a couple of comfort things, a couple of little chocky bars, a couple of instant coffees, a couple of breakfast bars, a cup, and a small wooden spoon. Right, a small wooden spoon I can use for eating meals, I can use it for stirring things, cooking and so on. That will double up as a cook pot. You can boil your rations and actually boil in the bag goes in that. You're not making this dirty. That I always keep clean. So the only thing that comes out of that or goes into that is boiling water. Okay, I don't cook food in it. It's a pain in the arse trying to clean that the following morning, wasting water and resources so that you can make a brew. Keep it clean, go to boil in the bags. The other great thing about boiling the bags, if it becomes an escape and evasion situation, or I'm just too exhausted or can't light a fire, I can still eat the rations cold and they will give me all the resources that my body needs. Okay. Below that, 2 1 litre Nalgene bottles. I like the clear ones, right? I like clear bottles. I can see exactly what's in it. I can see if there's particulates in it. I can use my filter system to fill them, okay? So at the end of the day it goes in there. That means I'm now carrying 4 litres of water. So I know when the camelback is empty, I've done 2 litres of water, I've got 2 in reserve. My next priority is topping up, reloading in water. Because we said it was a heavy kit, on this side is my cook system. Now this side is the same side as my camelback. So you've got 2 litres of water one side, 2 litres of water the other side. Yeah, you're trying to balance your weights out. Yes, as you go through the 2 litres of water, it might make a bit of a difference to how you're carrying it, but try and keep your loads equal. So, Kelly kettle. Kelly kettle is hollow. So, inside the Kelly kettle, wooden pellets. Okay, and inside the wooden pellets, I have 3 or 4 fire lighters. Okay, they're still fire lighters, they're not in contact with the pellets. Right, if I'm somewhere where there's no resources, or it becomes that bad that I have no resources, that's a backup for me. Okay, it means I can make a fire, I can cook my food, I can clean my water, I can make myself comfortable. I can then use my hot Kelly kettle to dry my socks, dry my underpants off if I've scrubbed them up in a local stream, and I'm away in the morning, not a problem at all. They're very efficient and they're cheap. And then below that, obviously I've got the cook set. Again, that's my Kelly kettle cook system. Now, to back that up, I've also got 2 Esbit cubes and I've got the little folding stove. But again, that is an absolute emergency backup system. So that is my heavy pack. Alright, that's 5 days. That is shelter sorted. That is, if need be, 2 types of shelter sorted, but that's shelter sorted, that's sleep system sorted, that's cook system sorted, that's water sorted, that's tools that I might need sorted, that is first aid kit sorted. I've got everything with me that I need to go. Everything else that I can find, I can either salvage, process, or dig up, pick up as I go along. Okay, and you can adapt this any way you want. I could be carrying a tarp rather than that. Right, so half the size, 3/4 of the weight. Okay, so then I could have more clothing, or I could have more food, or I could carry more water, or I could carry more tools. You can adapt it to what you want, but that was, as I said, that was just a heavy loadout, and it's just an idea of what I would carry on a heavy loadout. I'd adapt it to any environment. If I'm going to somewhere where there's less resources for fire, then I'm going to carry more facilities for making fire. If it's somewhere I can't make fire, I'm going to go over to a gas system or a meth system. You've got to adapt it to suit you. But then it was just an idea to give you an idea of what I carry on a heavy loadout. And again, the long infantry Bergen, it's huge. You'll put everything you need in there, I guarantee you, for any trip you're doing. They are a lot cheaper than buying the civilian version. Their downside, yes, they look military. Their upside is they're made for the military. You are not going to find something as comfortable or as strong. Okay, not for the money. You can spend an absolute fortune on Bergens, and I have done in the past. I'll see ones that have fallen apart in no time at all. Okay, light is good, but you know, sturdiness I will take any day over lightness. It's like at the end of the day, Hidden Valley's always saying, you know, travel light, freeze at night. That's a good saying. Obviously you don't want to load yourself out massively so that you're overweighted, but you want to make sure you've got enough equipment and enough ability to make it through the situation. And a lot of us these days haven't got the spare cash to spend out on a fortune of kit. So yeah, there we go. What I'm hoping to do in the near future, I'm speaking to one of the local Army Surplus stores, and I'm hoping to do a video from their store, and we'll show you a selection of what you can find in their store. Anyhow, that's the long infantry loadout, heavy duty 4 mic for a heavy mission. And what I'll do a couple of other Bergens and that, and loadouts, and see what you think of that. Right, the next thing we're going to get onto is the bag I carry for light use, or I would adapt for my shall we call it bug out bag. at the end of the day, it's what I would use if I was having to get away. Survival situation, you know, end of the world, apocalypse. It's the one I would take with me and load out. And the reason I do that is I can pretty much survive with basic equipment off the land, off salvaging, off scavenging. We're in the UK. You got to remember, in the majority of the UK, you can't go more than 5 miles without coming across habitations, towns, cities, and so forth. So yeah, let's put it in a bug out scenario. Right, so if you were bugging out in the UK, there are many options: bug in, bug out, get away, get out into the wilds, as they like to call it. Well, there's not many wilds in the UK, and pretty much everybody in the towns is going to be doing the same thing. One of the options I'll give you is, whilst everybody else is heading out on the main roads, the motorways and all the rest of it, because they don't know their way around, if you've got an ordnance survey map, drop to the byways. Use the footpaths and the byways. A lot of people are going to ignore them or don't even know they're there. But a lot of these old footpaths and byways were what our ancestors walked to go from a direct place to a direct place. They invariably travel in a straight line cross country, okay? You're going to remove yourself from the population, you're going to remove yourself from lots of people, and it means you can move slowly. Other people you're going to come across are probably going to be like-minded to yourself, and therefore a little bit more caring towards you. Rather than the people that are panicking, trying to walk down the motorways, trying to walk down the main roads because they're unaware of the byway system in the UK. So again, familiarise yourself with the byways. Great places to be walking. I use many of them in the UK. Anyhow, enough of that. So, a daily bag. It doubles up as a bug out bag. Not too big, not too heavy. It's nice and efficient to carry. It carries all my kit, and not everybody's going to agree with me on this one, but I like it, and I like it for 2 specific reasons, which I'm going to demonstrate. One, it's not a huge bag, yet it's got capacity for carrying a lot. And I also like the way it sections down. Some people don't like pockets and pouches, others do. This sort of falls in between the two. One of the problems with bags is you always have to try and dive down through the bag to get something that's at the bottom. Doesn't matter how you load it out, it's always going to be, I need something at the bottom. Everything's got to come out, everything's got to go back, okay? And sometimes loading the system in a hurry, it can be a pain in the arse. So we're going to go to this system. I'll put it on, and then you can see the size of the weight of it. So that is the pack itself, okay, and as you see, it's well supported. It's a very comfortable pack. It does have straps, so you can strap it to your hips if you're carrying a lot of weight, and they're quite substantial. You could also clip things to them, like your knife and so on, and your other tools, your other equipment. The shoulder straps are super comfortable and adjust in many different ways. Again, it's an improvement on the old bergan systems. A bit more science has gone into it. It's a good bit of kit. Now, let's get it out and go through what I've got in here. So how I've packed this out today, I've packed this out, and this is going for a long weekend up my woods, okay? I could use this pack out in any scenario. If I had to bug out, it would probably keep me going for the first 4 days, at which time I'll be salvaging, scavenging, and using resources locally. But this is packed out 4 days up the woods, okay? I'm going to get my little table. Okay, why I like this pack? It's actually a British Army medics pack. That's what it was designed for. Has a carrying system that folds away underneath here, that I can put a sleep mat in, I can roll up a poncho in it, I can put a tarp in it, whatever I wish to carry that way. That just unclips, opens out. Yeah, that makes that very efficient. So my loadout in this one. So we'll start with the outside pouches first. So this little pouch here, as you've seen before, has a head torch. Okay, that's also backed up by a carabiner. so that if that pouch for some reason snags or opens, I don't lose my head torch. There's also a couple of other carabiners on it. Purely and simply, if I find something that I think, oh, that could come in handy, I've got a way of fastening it to the system. Okay. Please bear in mind also, I'm always walking everywhere I go. I've got my Leatherman, and I've got my emergency kit and my first aid kit. So, in a I'm going up the woods scenario, my first aid kit. Lives in my top pocket. Okay. First top pocket, first one I can get to, that's my first aid kit. I also keep a map in there for the area I'm in. And also if I'm going further afield, I might keep a generic OS map, but a traveller map. So I've got one that folds down to the same size. It covers the whole of southern England. So it pretty much will cover me from Devon all the way through to Kent. If I was that far out, using my compass and that, yeah, I could hike my way home eventually. Another thing not many people think about, see, I'm a smoker, okay? So I get out into a situation where it's you know, give you a scenario, maybe I'm down at Andover seeing a mate, you know, that's 35 miles from home, scenario, EMP, yeah, solar flare, knocks out the electricity, wipes out all the cars and that, I'm tabbing home. I go through my car, I sort out the kit I've got in my car, I've got my bag with me, okay? So in the car, as you've seen before in one of my earlier videos, I carry a gas cooker, I carry pretty much what I've got in here, but as a car backup. Now, if I've got this bag with me, I then load up my purple bag with me, and I'm walking home, okay? I'm using my map, I'm using my compass. That's if the compass works, because an EMP may well affect the magnetic field of the Earth. But I would back that up with navigation by stars, navigation by features, and if need be I'd follow the main roads then, but I'd follow them at a distance and keep myself isolated from people. One of the things I can run out with as a smoker is my tobacco. And if you're in a high stress situation, you're a smoker, not being able to have a smoke is a bit of a swine. So one of the things, and I'll cover the brand, one of the things I carry with me, and I've got into using quite a bit now, is these nicotine pouches. Okay, just tucks below my lip, gives me the nicotine, gives me what I need, and it will help me stay a bit calmer, a bit more thoughtful, and a bit more ready to act, what we say. I don't carry alcohol in my systems. I don't mind a beer, I don't mind a cider, but I don't carry alcohol purely and simply because it affects my ability to judge a situation. Anyhow, next pouch down, bushcraft knife. Okay, that lives in there. As you saw in the other video, snacky things live in there. My fire kit lives in there. And again, unlike the fire kit that you see me use on a lot of my videos up the woods, which contains pretty much every fire lighting source I've got, that's what I call sort of my instructor, I'm not an instructor, but my demonstration kit. So that's got everything in it, but normally what I carry is something that big. I've got fire systems on my emergency backup, I've got fire systems, lighters and so on that I carry. One of the recommended ones I can say to you, if you've got a pound shop near you or a Poundland, go in, have a look for these little cigarette lighters. You buy a pack of 5 for £1. One of the bonuses is they've got a built-in torch, blue LED unfortunately, but that for signaling, that for seeing what you need to see. Yeah, it's great. It's a 2-in-1, it's a force multiplier, you know, brilliant. Grab them, throw them in your kit. Little breakfast biscuits, again, good carbs. Water purification, yeah, especially if you're bugging out, especially if you're on escape and evasion. Yeah, a live straw, any of the live straw systems will work for you. They're brilliant. Folding stove, okay, that's the little cheap folding stove we got. As you see, the zip's broken, but it all goes in the bag there, and that all packs into that pouch quite nicely. It's all in there, it's where I want it, it works for me. It means I've got fire lighting, I've got wood processing, I've got a ferro rod, I've got some snacks, so when I stop and sit there and I think to myself, I'm going to make a brew, I'm going to make a camp here, but I'm feeling a bit exhausted, yeah, I can get some protein into me, make me feel a bit better. On this side pouch here, I keep my emergency backup kit, okay. That's kept on the outside so I can grab it if I need to. And again, as we said with the other Bergen, if it was a real bug out or an emergency situation, that would go on my belt. My first aid kit will go on my belt. That would free up space in here for more gear. And it would also mean that if I had to dump this and run, I've got kit with me. So we'll turn it round. On this side, 2 Viper pouches. Each one of those carries a 1 litre Nalgene bottle. Inside here, again, I carry my Camelback. So that's 4 litres of water. I can spend time at my camp at night and that processing water if I needed to. My little forage bag lives on the side there. Again, if I'm out and I'm walking or I'm bugging out and I'm making my way back and I'm looking for tinder, got a foraging bag. If I find wild foods, got a foraging bag. Find something I need to carry that's loose, you know, a food source or something, again, got a foraging bag. Takes up no space, no weight, just tucks down the side there. And again, as you can see, I've got my Forester's axe on there. That slips down, the blade faces back even though it's on a cover, so it's facing away from my body. If I fall over, it's not gonna, you know, worst thing I do is get a bang on the back of the head. But that slips back in there nicely and gets carried on the Bergen. Now, this Bergen's got a couple of nice things about it. One, before let's take that out there, which you would do, get to the camp. Right, so this Bergen's got a couple of nice features. One, if you need to access the top, okay, you can do, and there's 2 ways of doing it. You have that simple zip there, which is waterproof zip. I can get into there, into the top of the bag, and lift out small items. If the item's slightly larger, if you want to do it without seeing it, do it by feel, Mick, do it by feel. Opens out into a larger flap, okay? Again, waterproof zip, okay, so I can get in there. That allows me to get into the top of the bag. The feature that I like the most about this bag, and not everybody's going to agree with me, everybody has their own system. The thing I like about this bag, I've got to where I'm stopping, and I've decided, right, I'm going to sort my kit out, or I'm going to get all my gear out, I'm going to set up my shelter. I undo 2 straps there, which you don't have to do up, you can do. That zip runs all the way around the front edge, he says. And the bag opens out like that. Now to me, that's a bonus because I see everything. So in here today, I have a DPM tarp in this bag here that has DPM tarp in it, that has tent pegs, that has 2 20-foot lengths of paracord, plus that has 4 10-foot lengths of bankline, so pretty much I can rig up a tarp anywhere. That also has a hammock in it. What I would then do in here, I would pack out slightly differently, but I would get in here something like a small sleeping bag. But I've aimed this as a bug out, so really all I'm looking at doing is sheltering in place in my clothes, being light, being mobile. If I was going up the woods for the 4 days, I would take this, and I would take a heavier duty sleeping bag, which I would either strap underneath or carry separately. Right? You could also reduce the amount of food, carry a sleeping bag in there. You carry your cook set on the outside, sleeping bag goes in there. So again, adapt. Means you can take the items out individually, put them back as you need to, keep an order to your system. Again, good old Dutch poncho, recommend those to everybody. Right, it has a pocket there, elasticated strap there, which I find is absolutely perfect for keeping my British Army survival knife in and my Silky Big Boy. It means they tuck down, I can get to them from the top if I need to, but they tuck down out the way. There's a molly system on the back here, so you can clip and strap things to there. Okay, There's this system here. Now that clip there goes to that, which allows the bag to open only to 45 degrees if you wish. And it has a hard back this side, which initially I thought would be uncomfortable, but the padding on the front's brilliant. That hard solid back gives me a surface. I can do things on that surface. So I could put a sheet on that, or a piece of wood, and I can prep things, I can do things on that, I can write on it if I had to, so I could put a piece of paper on that, write on it, not an issue. Now, we then come to the internal pockets, okay, so it has the top pocket is a full length internal pocket, okay, that goes all the way down to the bottom, and below that is an individual pocket. Dry kit lives in there. So again, going back to the same situation as my long bag, there's a set of wool thermals for sleeping in, again, because wool retains heat even when it's damp. There's a set of lightweight underclothes, and there is a couple of pairs of socks. And again, people say to me, why don't you carry more socks or more underwear? Well, if you're travelling, especially in the UK, you're always going to find water sources. You wash and clean it when you get the chance, okay? You shouldn't be able to go more than a few days without being able to clean your kit. You'll always find water, even if it's not the best in the world. You can sterilise it, boil it. It's all camp admin, it's all sorting your own stuff out. So that's that bag for me. And you can adapt the load out to suit yourself. I would, depending on the situation. I mean, there's 4 days worth, or 5 days worth of food in there. I could drop that down. Again, poncho lives on the top. First thing you want to be able to grab out of any bag is your waterproofs. And again, that poncho will go over my back, go over that. In that is a little emergency shelter. Again, I head over, I've got my cook set, and in my cook set, yeah, coffee, biscuits, nice munchies, a little wooden spoon, and a cup. So I can brew up in that, and again, keep that nice and clean. It can go in, it will fit in either way, not a problem at all. And that means that bag, for me, is a game changer. The way it opens, the way the pockets have been designed, absolutely suit me down to the ground. The bag itself is Cordura, very, very strong. It has a molly system all over it, so the attachment of pouches and that and further equipment is not an issue. And you can load it out to what you want. And again, it's comfortable. It's been ergonomically designed. It is very well padded. Okay. It has holes and slots in it which are waterproofed, so that you can run the strap from your camelback out, or the pipe from your camelback. You can put other clips on it, you can put other pouches on it, you can put other straps on it, you can strap the military roll mat underneath it, you can load it as you want. And again, it comes back down to thinking, what do I really need? What do I want to carry? So yeah, that would be my bug out bag. That would be a short 4-day camp bag. That is a nice summer bag. You can lighten the kit up even further if you wished. And again, as I said, if I was genuinely in an emergency bugging out, survival, escape and evasion type situation, my belt order would go on. I would be carrying a knife on my belt. I would be carrying my first aid kit on my belt. I'd be carrying my escape and evasion kit on my belt. I would have food and rations stuffed into my pockets. In this pocket here, flapjack, food bar. I don't want to stop moving, but I might need to eat on the move. I need to keep going. Other things you can add to it, and these are quite cheap to buy these days. That's the in-car charger. Right, GPS 12. Okay, yeah, it doesn't give you pictures and images of where you are, but you can plot a route on it. It's a first generation GPS, so they're prone to less problems than the modern ones. They still work well on the satellite system. It also backs off of phone masts, and it will give you your location, sunrise, sunset, altitude, Yeah, if you can read a map and you've got one of these, you're laughing. Again, you should always back it up with the compass, and if you can learn the skills, learn to navigate by the stars, learn to navigate by the sun. Wristwatches, so another one I wanted to say a quick thing about. I wear a wristwatch, so one of the things I do, I'll wear a wristwatch. That means if I lose my glasses, I can still read my wristwatch. My wristwatch isn't a digital, it's got hands on it. The reason it's got hands on it is, one, it's easier and more accurate for me to time things out, like pacings. It also means that I can navigate by the sun. Simple as, and I will again include that probably in my video on escape and evasion. Guys, this has been Mick from Hampshire Outdoors and Survival. That's 2 of my carrying systems. There are many more bags I have here that I've tried over the years, and each one has its place, but that's my 2 go-tos at the moment. There are people that will carry full webbing. I don't do that myself. My belt order kit literally will just go on my belt around my waist, and it breaks down to what I need. I've spent a lot of time throwing things away that I never use, sometimes to find out that within a week or 2 I'm like, oh, I wish I still had that. But it's, again, you've got to be able to be adaptable. You've got to carry enough kit to keep yourself sheltered, warm, out of the weather, fed and watered. Other than that, basic med kit, right? And when you build your med kits at home for yourself, think about yourself. Think about what could happen. How many times have we all had the loose tummy, right? It's the lothramide. That will bung you up. Check with your pharmacist that you can take it if you're taking other meds. Hay fever tablets. Somebody come back and said, why do you carry a hay fever tablet? Well, I do suffer with hay fever, but it's also an antihistamine. So anybody having an allergic reaction, it will help them. Okay? You can even give antihistamines to dogs. It will assist them if they're having an allergic reaction. Pain relief. Again, pain relief is an individual thing. So I have a couple of friends who are on very strong pain relievers, so they carry their pain relievers with them. I keep it to the basics. I've got paracetamol, good for fevers, good for pain, it's an analgesic. I've got ibuprofen, which is good for swollen injuries, bringing down inflammation, and again it will act to help relieve a fever. I also keep aspirin in my bag, but that's not so much as a pain reliever. That's if I start getting chronic chest pains, I'm getting one of those under my tongue and phoning for an ambulance. And again, for anybody else that's suffering chronic chest pains, aspirin. Anybody you think's having a heart attack or having a heart problem, give them an aspirin, phone the emergency services and tell them you've given them an aspirin. So there we go. We've covered this weekend first aid kits, basic bag loadouts, and all these are personal. Sort yours out to what suits you. You put what you need to carry in it. Don't, because I've put certain things in there, think, oh, I've got to have that. No, you haven't. Adapt your kit to yourself, right? Put what you want in there. There is no right or wrong to it. As long as you can cover yourself with shelter, fire, food and water, you're pretty much good to go, okay? Some can carry heavier weights, therefore they can carry heavier loads. Some can't carry any loads at all. It's just one of those things. Anyhow, I'm waffling there, as I often do. So, guys, this has been Mick, Hampshire Outdoors and Survival. I do apologise that then again, this is another video indoors and at home, but I did this on the same day as I did the previous one. However, it was going to be one video and it came out at about 60 minutes, which is too long. I try and keep it to about 30. Have a great time wherever you are. I hope all your friends are good. I hope you're good. I hope the weather is awesome where you are and you're having an awesome time. Thank you very much for watching the video. Please like, subscribe, comment, tell me what you use, what you don't. Tell me if you think my gear is a good idea or if it's a bad idea. I'm always open to suggestions. Look forward to seeing you on the next video. Be good wherever you are. Peace and love. This has been Mick, Hampshire Outdoors Survival. Mick out. All the best, guys.